All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Readers. So we are going to take a look at the weed sector covering tilray, CGC, SNDL, and high tide like we normally do. Okay, so the first place I want to start, I'm going to say this one more time on the tilray part is, look, I say a lot of things that honestly, even sometimes I can't follow the rules of, right? Like, I am only a human. I have these greedy little desires like most of us do, right? Like, I very often, and it's sad, believe me, because I preach things and I try to reduce the very often. And yeah, every day is learning for both sides of the screen here, right? But, um, I got excited yesterday until I actually got so excited I posted something. I can't even pretend I didn't, right? Like at the time you can see it was a good green candle. The wick was obviously there. The wick is obviously still here, right? But oh man, it looked like Tilray was making moves. I did stress the close was important, right? But it was a big wick, and then obviously the day just changed dramatically, right? So I'll give you my thoughts of why, but yeah, I at least want to start with look, it's hard following these rules. Believe me, I say that myself, and I've been doing this thing for years, right? So yeah, it's every day, right? Like every day is a battle to stay good and get better and all that sort of stuff. But we'll give you more of my thoughts. I'll obviously give you more thoughts about CGC, SNDL, and high tide. But before we go any further and I give you more of my thoughts and opinions, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There are horizontal support and resistance lines, as well as the occasional diagonal trend line that I do draw manually myself. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can please subscribe to this channel, share this video online with your friends, comment good or bad. Hey, I appreciate it all and it helps so much, but I can't stress it enough. I am so grateful for all of it, and let's get into this. You know what I mean? So, Tilray, again, I often say it matters most when regular hours close, right? That's why I make my videos at this time. It's 1 o'clock my time, Pacific, 4 o'clock Eastern. The bell has rung, the markets are closed, right? And man, Tilray yesterday, the candle went night and day, and I can't even pretend I didn't get excited. This was well early into the trading hours, right? I at least, again, I stress close over the lines is what matters, but oh man, look at the way the candle looked. Look at how it was dancing and like jumping off that trend line. There was a lot to like. There was a lot to get excited about. And again, it's one of those things where the rules I say, knock on wood, I like to say are for a reason, right? But man, it's hard to follow them every single time, every single day on every single ticker. You know what I mean? So, but we're here doing our best, right? We're here doing our best, and this is why I say the close of the day matters, right? And man, what a night and day situation. The day actually starts, and again, I'm stressing about yesterday. We'll talk about today in a bit, but yesterday opens above the trend line, like I said. The day before actually closed above the trend line, right? So like there was things to like, and lo and behold, we go down here, right? I've been talking about breaking these two lines for so long. I've been talking about that 222 line for so long, right? Like I like that we're attacking it. Like that there is good in that, right? But man, the close just yesterday was devastating. And really what was scary was the way that the S&P 500 closed yesterday and the way the Dow Jones closed yesterday, right? Like it is a scary thing to see two big red candles on the indices that matter, right? Again, I always say weed has nothing to do with tech, right? So that's why I don't really flash the NASDAQ when we're covering those, but it matters more about the day after. It matters more about the confirmation than it does that single one, right? And today was a decent day on both the Dow and the SP 500, right? Like they both easily could have lost the 8 and gone to the 20, but hey, bouncing on the 8 like champions, right? So I'm glad that happened there. I think that's kind of the reactions between yesterday and today. it's weird, right? Because look, I've actually been very honest. I've been so wrong about my general thoughts about the indices. Whenever I think the Nasdaq or the S&P 500 or the Dow Jones is going to go down, it doesn't. And I'm actually really grateful for the Discord group. They've actually kept me in check and like kept me positive when I was thinking negative. You know what I mean? But it's like I you know what I mean? I think as long as the indices look okay, it's hard it's getting harder and harder to like, let me, how do I word this? I think it's fair to say that I always assume weed stocks are going to go down. I know it's so messed up to say. I know it, right? Like, and let's be honest, most of us watching this kind of have that in the back of our heads. Like, we've seen so much pain. Some of us a lot more pain than others, right? I was one of them. I lost way too much money at a time when I was making no money at all. Like, you know what I mean? I'm talking in the teens as an intern, like, and I'm in the teens, I meant as my like hourly sat, like it was, oof, man, I lost too much when I was making too little, and uh, it's it's the sting of the weed sector, right? But I think it smells like something's different in the air. And I'm not talking about the smell that you get when you go to a Cypress Hill show, right? Like, it smells like sometimes I make myself laugh. It smells like the trend is changing. It feels like 2024 might be a decent year. All right, I'm going to kind of go outside weed right now, right? But Powell is kind of signaling that interest rates might be going down. You know what I mean? They're actually kind of saying that the U.S. is maybe not really in that recession that we were fearing. Now, don't get me wrong, life ain't easy, but the market doesn't always reflect life, right? And if people are believing 24 is going to be okay, that makes me think that the indices are going to be okay. That makes me think it's going to be a little difficult for weed to kind of go down, right? And the last thing that kind of ended on it, it's funny, I haven't really even thought about it much yet, but it came up in the Discord group today. We're coming up on an election year, okay? And I'm not one to guess how much weed is going to be discussed in the elections. I'm not one to guess who's going to make any bold statements one way or the other, right? But this is definitely a hot topic button. This is an issue that clearly more states are saying is okay than are saying we don't want this, right? And, you know, it's one of those things where any given election moment, any given important candidate saying the right or wrong thing, and I'll be honest, it feels more like the right thing than the wrong thing, right? Because like we're way too far, and I don't think there's many more wrong things that could be said, right? It just smells like things are different. And hey, maybe that's a little more just opinions than anything else. But yeah, like I said, the election comment came up today in the Discord, and it got me thinking of a few things. And the weed sector was actually one of them, and more long term than my simple head normally thinks. You know what I mean? But let me know your thoughts and opinions on that. Again, otherwise, I'm still watching these two lines. I'm watching how the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones react. We're still kind of holding this trend line. We still have moving averages going up, right? Like the 8's actually still going up, the 20's still going up. Like we've wicked it once. Can we wick it again? Can we more than wick it, right? Like let's see what happens. You know what I mean? Did I flash the weekly? Okay, where are we on the weekly, right? Like this is an important two-line cluster, right? They're not super tight, but for a weekly chart, it is actually pretty tight, right? And for me, it's an important place. We're actually with almost the textbook doji. The doji's over it. I mean, next week's setting up. Next week is setting up, and next week's a short week. And again, I feel like it's a little bit more. I'm a short-term guy, right? So I don't want to make any silly long-term assumptions, right? But let me flash the monthly real quick. Let's do that. Where are we on the monthly? Okay, because again, December's going to end next week. Obviously this trend line has to do with the daily, right? But what's really going to matter for January is going to be this 209 line, okay? If we can get over 209 in January, I think we can actually reach at least 250 come January, maybe February. And then after 250, hey, we might even retest this 20 up to 280. Okay. It's been, look, the stock knows how to do this. It's been a long time under the 8 moving average, months and 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 months under the 8. It finally gets over the 8, makes a little run to the 20. Some silliness happens, but eventually it kind of doesn't get over the 20, and then back to months and months and months and months and months and months under the 8, right? We just made a move to the 20. Can we do it again? And what's interesting here is, look, this is a doji. I generally say the candle after the doji is a little telling. This is a good candle after the doji. This actually seemingly, look, what's the last trading day what's the last trading day? I think it's the 28th. I think it's this time next week. We must close above 199. All right, close above 199, and I will feel good going into January. I would obviously love a run to 209 if we could. If we can close end of next week at like 210, actually get me over the 8 moving average, I'd love it. But yeah, I like this candle after the doji. I think that there's some telling signs that say, look, red, 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 green, 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 red, 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 green, 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 green. I think it wants to come here. I do. And I think that there's a decent shot that it wants to come here. Am I here, sitting here, believing we're going to break the 20 moving average? No, not yet. No way. Not yet. No. But again, any given moment, any given comment during the election, who knows, right? And we have months and months and months to see what happens from that, right? So again, a lot more long term than I normally go. Let me know if there was value in that. Let me know if you disagree, man. Obviously, and man and gal, you know that, right? But let's come into CGC real quick. And okay, I mean, like, this is it, right? So a couple things have happened. Obviously, I got to redraw my lines because things have shifted. They shifted 1 to 10, right? I'm going to draw that right there. And I'm going to draw, did we already lose this one or are we still there? That. Okay, we kind of lost that one today. Let's see what tomorrow confirms. Excuse me. 405 right now is the death line, okay? We do not want CGC to go under 405, okay? Listen to me. Reverse split in my head is always death. I see what Mullen did. The day of the split, it goes up 78%. It actually went up a lot higher, running into the 18s actually, running into the high 18s actually, right? So I see outliers happen. Reverse splits are death. When I see a reverse split, I assume the big red candle is going to come soon, right? And 6% isn't the biggest of percentage, but that's a scary candle to me. I'm seeing the 8 moving average go down. I'm seeing the 20 getting ready to go down. Like it's hard for me to assume good things here. And again, one of the things I kind of commented was, I'm not sure if a good wheat sector will help this. I don't know, because we actually, again, see it with Mullen, right? Mullen, obviously, today was a good little almost make you forget about it, but Mullen has gone nothing but down and down and down and down, and they've done a number of splits, right? But the point is actually that EVs have made a little bit of a move up. Nothing substantial. I don't want to like say anything crazy, right? But between this first split, between May and now, there have been some nice EV runs, like Rivian comes to mind, and so on and so forth. This isn't an EV video, but there are times when a stock still goes down while the sector goes up, and my biggest fear would be that that becomes CGC. Listen, I'm not trying to compare anything to Mullen, right? Like that's actually really mean in a lot of ways, right? But I'm very much scared of reverse splits, and I'm not like ashamed to have used the word scared, right? Like reverse splits are death. I say that every single ticker, and I say it for reasons. Like I've been burned, right? Like I'm not trying to touch the hot pan again, right? So even if someone says, hey, there's a good glove on the pan, oh man, if there's a little hole, I ain't trying to burn anything, right? So again, just different risk tolerances bring different rewards and other sides of the coins, right? But CGC, It scares me. CGC, MACD is in the negative, and that's a bad divergence. That's also a bad divergence on the RSI. Not as bad, but horrible, horrible, horrible volume, right? Like 405 needs to bounce. We've bounced here once, we've bounced here twice, we've bounced here 3, we've bounced here 4. I'm not the biggest fan of using a line 5 or more times. I'm really not. But hey, let's see what it does, right? But again, be careful. I'm not the biggest fan of post-reverse split stocks. Where are we on the weekly? Look, we're under all the moving averages, all 5 on the weekly. We're under all 5 on the daily. That's not where you want your hard-earned money. You want it the other way around. You want to be over all the moving averages on the daily and the weekly. SNDL. Let's move into, obviously, if you disagree with the CGC, let me know. SNDL, look, SNDL I think is in a very different situation than CGC, okay? SNDL has been dancing under the moving averages for a while, right? But one thing I kind of talked about was we're making a cluster of these 3, and in a lot of ways, the 5 themselves are in a pretty tight cluster, right? So you go up, you go down, you go up, you go down, and that kind of seems to be what's happening, right? So we really, really want to escape this 50 moving average, all right? We've made a test. We've wicked it so many times, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wicks, 6 wicks actually, right? We've closed over it right here. We've opened it over right here. Like, this 50 needs to break. It really just break the 50, and let's start making our way up to here, right? And again, it's actually almost identical in my opinion to the TLRY chart. It's a little more going up here, right? But stuck on the 50, finally breaks the 50 coming up to these 2 lines, right? Like, that's what SNDL is trying to do. Stuck with the 50, get me out of the 50 so I can actually come battle these 2 as well, right? So listen, I don't like horizontal trading by any means, but it's way better than losing them all and going down, right? So we're still battling here. We're very close with it too. I like the constant pressure, right? It's essentially been 4 weeks of pressure. We've had one good close over it, not like just a little over. Like, nah, that's a good close over it, right? So this is a nice candle, but we've seen some nice candles before that didn't bring as good as we wanted, right? But S&P 500, let me at least flash it here. I don't think I flashed it on the CGC one, right? S&P 500 was scary yesterday. Seems like the 8 held it right there. Dow Jones, same exact words. Scary yesterday. It seems like the 8 held it. We're actually still above the previous all-time highs. Obviously, this is now all-time highs, right? But I'm not moving this line just yet, right? So SNDL, as long as the Dow Jones and S&P don't do anything silly, I actually think it's going to follow TLRY. It's going to break the 50, and it's going to start to kind of make its move to here, right? And again, I went on a little bit of a tangent on long-term weed thoughts on TLRY. I don't know if you just fast-forwarded here, but it might be worth checking out, okay? And then let me come into high tide. High tide, same exact comments on Sandal, but almost inverse, okay? Instead of being under all the lines, it's trying to get over and run. It's above them all, but then it gets sucked back in. It's above them all, but it gets sucked back in. Right now, it is technically over them all, right? It's over those 2, and those 3 are under, but you gotta make me believe. You gotta make me believe. One more time, you gotta make me believe, right? 166. I think getting into 167 is going to be the number. If we can get into 167, hopefully we gain that extra 20 cents, go on up to there, and that's actually a good little 10% run right there. And then again, from here to here is a nice channel from what I remember. Yeah, for sure. Red, green, red. Maybe a little thickness right there at 209, but again, I'll draw the 209 line. Why not? I think we should. 208 this time. Again, cool. I like it when I draw it once, draw it again, and it's still about the same place. Again, I'm not here talking about 208 just yet, right? You know that. What needs to happen is us escape the lines. But again, If you're hearing me say I think SNDL is going to escape the lines, you got to believe that I think that HITI is going to escape the lines. I'm still liking the overall wheat sector. I'm still believing the CGC reverse split is going to be isolated. I'm watching the S&P 500. I'm watching the Dow Jones to see what happens, okay? So let me know your thoughts and opinions as always. Otherwise, hey, I appreciate you so much.